Good morning, guys. Thank you for tuning in to another webinar from FlightBase in collaboration with UVT. We have a really exciting webinar lined up for all of y'all. We're going to talk about perimeter security with the help of DJI Dock 3, and we're going to cover different aspects about how UVT helps with remote operations, how FlightBase provides the platform that allows you to integrate and have end-to-end workflows. Today with me, I have Joseph. Hi, Joseph. Thank you for tuning in and joining us.
Yeah,
What
absolutely. Thank you for having me.
awesome. So, with everyone's permission, I understand people will tune in. In a bit, what we'll do is we'll start with quick introductions, and then by the time people come in, we'll get started. So today we are talking about how you can scale your remote drone ops for perimeter security with the DJI Dock 3. As I mentioned, we are FlightBase. We are the software layer. We're going to talk more about that. And we also have Joseph from UVT on the call who will talk about the operational aspect and how we collaborate. And then maybe I can also cover how we collaborate to provide these solutions. So Joseph, maybe you can jump in and give a short introduction about yourself, and maybe then I'll take it over.
Yeah, absolutely. Again, thank you for having me. My name is Joseph Sims. I'm the remote operations solution specialist here at UVT. I've been in the drone space for over 10 years now. Started out just like everybody else, grabbed a drone and started flying. Evolved into helping to serve public safety agencies to develop their programs, and then moved over to UVT and have started working on the commercial side with enterprise grade all the way to mom and pop shops, and doing everything from high level inspection to some pretty intense security operations. So it's been a fun ride.
Awesome. Thank you so much for tuning in, Joseph, and sharing your thoughts with us. I'll give a short introduction. My name is Kaushal Kulkarni or Kosh. I'm a business development manager at FlightBase. I have over 4 years of enterprise business development experience. I've worked across different regions for large enterprises, helping set up end-to-end IT slash application-based workflows. And at FlightBase, it's been all about setting up end-to-end drone automations for large enterprise customers. So we're talking about the large oil and gas companies from the US, rail yard companies like CSX, quite a few deployments in the Middle East and also Europe. So I help manage the business function at FlightBase. So I'm your go-to person if any of you if you have any questions around how would you want to set up FlightBase or how you would want to work on different drone automation pieces. So that's a short introduction of myself. I'll be your host for today. Before I cover my piece, I'll pass on to Joseph to cover, talk a little bit about UVT and how UVT is helping with remote operations across the US. Over to you, Joseph.
Yeah, absolutely. So UVT, we're a robotics solutions provider. We started out in the public safety arena. So we've been one of the largest names in public safety drone operations for a number of years now, and have really used that to kind of be our foothold to push into the industry a little bit more. Recently, we've started to push into the commercial side of things, working the security end of things a lot with our background in public safety. We do everything from, selling drones and helping you guys find the right type of drone for the project that you're working on, to bringing a dock on a fully self-contained deployment platform, dropping it at your site, having our pilots run everything for you, and just sending you back the data. So, there's a lot that goes in between all of that. We do a lot of support. We do repairs. We help to design program operations. We offer consulting. We try to be as helpful to the customers as we possibly can. We're not really looking for just a quick sailing and get out. We've got a pretty strong relationship with most of our customers, and that's really kind of the core of UVT and how we work with the different groups. From the flight services side of things, so we have a partnership with Premier Security up in Fenton, Michigan. This is a view of our GSOC where we have our flight operations team. So we offer a services, Dock has a service solution where we can, like I said, deliver a fully contained dock and operations platform out to your site on a trailer or just on a standard platform. And then our pilots will operate that system from this facility here and monitor everything that's going on the site and send the data and all of the security operation information back to your team.
Yeah.
This
So,
is, yeah, go ahead, Kosh.
no, please go ahead. Please go ahead.
Sure. So this is one of our primary partners, Premier Security. We've been working with them for quite a while now. We partner with them for our GSOC, as I mentioned. Over the course of the relationship, we've conducted over 8,000 flights. We've helped to stop a number of different attempts at theft at one of the largest auto manufacturers in the country, and each one of those attempts qualifies at least a couple $100,000 in thwarted lost revenue. So just a little bit more about the remote operations team. We're kind of dispersed all over the country. I'm based out of Austin, Texas. Like I said, we've got our GSOC up in Fenton, Michigan. Our innovation center is also up in Flint, Michigan. And then we've got team members in New York. Our headquarters is in Fayetteville, Arkansas. We use all of that in order to get our equipment out to our customers as quickly as possible. And then all of our operators are fully licensed, insured, go through continuous training, and maintain all of their flight hours on a regular basis. Just another view of our GSOC here. So this is manned 24/7, 365. We've always got people here at these desks ready to respond to any kind of a alarm response or actively conducting our patrols.
Thank you so much, Joseph. So, what I'll do now is I will paint a picture for all of you. So, if you're here and you have a question about, how do you begin your journey for perimeter security operations, for site security, industrial security, with automated dock solutions such as the DJI Dock 3, how do you go about it? So, let's all take a look at a sample project requirement. Typically, when customers come in, they have this different industries, but more or less a templatized requirement that they come out with. Usually, the requirement is we have foot on the ground manual patrols. We would want to automate it. We would need to set up a 24/7 operations center with a drone in such a way that it's 24/7 available. You can do scheduled patrols during the night. You can also, they would want to integrate with existing security systems. So these are CCTV cameras or alarm-based sensors or systems for intruder detection. When I say integrate, they would want to not just get a pop-up notification, but also automate the drone dispatch requirement. And once the drone's in the air, get real-time analytics on, getting more insights on the situation, the scenario, in certain cases, detecting intruders. So as Joseph mentioned, at the auto site with Premier Security, each theft incident could go up to $200,000. So that would be an ideal case where you have a certain situation and the scenario, and the drone is able to go to the location and sort of help make these real-time security decisions with the human in the loop, of course. So this is a very typical project requirement from different use cases. So we can across the board. We're talking oil and gas, rail yards, solar farms, auto manufacturers, high-end residential resorts, so on and so forth. So maybe for those of you who are, visual thinkers, we've just quickly painted it out for you. The first trigger point is any kind of an alarm system. So these could be CCTV cameras detecting threats. These could be IoT sensors, motion sensors detecting intrusions, motion beam sensors, intelligent fence systems, for example. And the list goes on. Point being, the first action item could be a trigger. The second item that customers want is, once this is triggered, how do I get the alarm into my remote operation center? And basis the alarm, my operator should be able to make a decision either manually or in an automated manner to dispatch the drone um, from a remote location to the location of the incident. So that sort of completes the loop. There are a few more additions to this entire flow, but this is more or less. Sorry, go ahead, Joseph.
No, I was just smiling. There's a lot that goes
Awesome.
into it.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. I mean, uh, there are sometimes customers asking for analytics. There are also scheduled patrols for night inspections. And I'll cover a few of these use cases. So now we have painted a picture of a typical security operation. How do we go about solving it? So one of the key requirements is to mitigate or to solve for enterprise integrations. Most of these systems are separate. So you would have your alarms on Genetec, your video cameras on Genetec. Maybe you might use Flock Safety for your alarms. You might use Dahua for your alarms, so on and so forth. So there are multiple systems involved. The way you're able to integrate that with FlightBase is Flinks. So Flinks stands for FlightBase Links. Quite intuitive. These are one-click integrations between existing security systems, inspection systems, or mapping systems. So overall, the categories of these integrations are of four types. So we spoke about the alarm flink, where you're able to integrate with any trigger system, so any alarm system on site. There is also a video streaming flink that allows you to export the video feed into a video management system. So your drone acts as a flying CCTV camera. Data processing flink, not so important for site security, but if you would want to map your site and overlay the 3D model onto FlightBase for better visual cues of your site, then you can use the data processing Flink to integrate with, say, a drone deploy for mapping. And the fourth is detect and avoid Flinks, UTM Flinks for operational safety. So here you're pulling in information from different sensors. For now, we'll focus on alarms and video streaming flinks. The I would say lowest hanging use case for this is the Genetec integration. So we have a plugin available directly with Genetec where you can log into your Genetec systems. You can reach out to us. We can help you with a demo license. You can install the FlightBase plugin. It's by the name of Add-on Expert, and you get a real-time. So you get the information on your dock, your drone, on the map view. You also get information of the drone and dock directly into Genetec, and you're also able to integrate your existing alarms on Genetec with FlightBase in the backend. So essentially, Genetec acts as your front end, and FlightBase acts as your backend. So you'll get the video feed, drone telemetry, and drone location in real time on the map with status of your operations. And if your alarms are integrated, then you have an end-to-end system. So Genetec, we use the alarm flink and the video streaming flink and a couple of other APIs to make this integration. And this is a really it's picking up quite a lot. I'll speak about a few customers who are already starting to test this out. The
Yeah,
next idea,
Josh, I'll jump
yeah,
in here
please
real
go ahead.
quick if you don't mind. So I will say the Flinks, Genetech integrations, all of the different integrations that are available on FlightBase is the entire reason that I've been such a huge fan of the FlightBase platform and why we're able to do everything that we do and serve the customers the way that we do. Um, Without FlightBase's Flinks and all of the different integrations that they've created through that, we'd have to be moving between a number of different platforms in the middle of an operation to accomplish all of the different things that we're being asked of. It's gotten to be very common that we don't have a customer asking us to just do security operations. There's often a side job as well, right? Whether that be inspection, whether that be construction site mapping. It's very rare now that we're seeing this be a single use tool, and the Flinks allow us to really expand on that and serve the customers quickly and efficiently.
Thank you so much, Joseph. And I agree. The Flings has been a game changer for us as well because, before Flings, these systems were isolated, great tools for collecting data, for getting a visual cue. But once you're able to integrate with external systems, that's when the magic happens, where you're now able to scale your operations because now you can replicate this across different sites, and customers are able to justify the return on investment. And the beauty is because you have this the Genetech integration for security and say the mapping fling for site mapping, you can have the same asset for multiple use cases across different teams. So that really helps with the ROI justification. Moving on, one more consideration now. Now that with the drone in the air, we're still a part of the story. So number one, the alarm came in. There's an intruder on site who cut a fence. Awesome. You have the drone in the air. Uh, After the alarm sensor went off, FlightBase dispatched the drone. The operator has the eye in the sky, and the drone is in the air. Another consideration is how do you find the intruder? Number one. Number two is say there is a completely different story. Here, there is an alarm that is triggering because of which you know there is an intruder on site. So your operators are already vigilant. In case there are no alarms, or say no alarm is triggered, and the drone is on a scheduled patrol, you know for a fact that between sector A and sector B, there are no humans supposed to be loitering around, or no vehicles that are supposed to be around the area between 2 and 4 p.m. Now, this is a very, sorry, 2 and 4 a.m. This is a very typical story. So imagine you've scheduled a mission, the drone is in the air, and it's doing a regular patrol. How about the ability to have real-time object detection in such a way that you're not only identifying vehicles and humans, counting them, and also notifying your operator uh, about the presence of intruders or unwanted agents. This gets logged completely, and this is an inbuilt feature into FlightBase, and I'll talk about how we do it. But this really helps with site security because, and there are so many use cases that you can think of: fire detection, uh, you know, specific types of vehicles, thermal detection for night inspections, so on and so forth. So this is how we add the analytics layer to the entire workflow. So now what you can see is we've captured this scene and also stored it in the media section for later perusal. So this is evidentiary data for you in case there was no human in the loop. So this has been a game changer for us as well. Not only from trigger to action, but you're now also detecting objects in real time. Now that was the first challenge, right? How do you?
Yeah, gosh, one more thing here. That's just to speak again to the power of FlightBase and the different tools that you guys have created. So this is really the other key component to our ability to scale. So having all of the flanks and then bringing this into play This helps our pilots to be more effective as they're flying, and not have to worry about the different things that are going on, right? They could be looking at a ton of different things. And as that drone's flying over, maybe there's somebody hiding over in a corner that they could have missed, but that little green box pops up and now they've got a notification that just makes everything so much more effective for us, and really increases our win rate for our customers.
For sure. I mean, I was just looking at your GSOC setup, and I can only imagine so many screens. It's so easy to miss a few items, and even if there is a human in the loop, quite attentive, this is always a helpful feature to get the attention on the right screen.
Yeah,
And there is
absolutely.
more to.
Information overload is definitely a huge struggle as somebody sitting there and watching those monitors constantly, right? You see the same thing over and over and over again, and you're not seeing an issue every single time, every single day. So you get used to not seeing that, and then having that box pop up, just it's that extra layer to help adjust the human factor, to help protect the human factor.
For sure, for sure. And that's the feedback that we've been getting across the board for the AIR device. So that was going to be the reveal at the end, but it's one of the edge units that I'll talk about for the use case that allows you to do that. Now, we've spoken about the user story. Now you have an alarm triggered, you have a drone in the air, you also have analytics detection. So the story is more or less complete. You're also logging these alerts for evidentiary purposes. You know how to use the dock. You have a use case. You've identified it. Gosh, Joseph, how do I get this on site? How do I get it approved? One of the biggest pushbacks that we get is IT and data security. There are a lot of reasons for it, and it's not just the source of the hardware. It's also the fact that we're integrating into your enterprise network. This dock is not like a standalone drone. It's connected to the internet. It needs power. It needs a stable platform. So there are a lot of you're getting an asset into your site. So there are a lot of IT flags that get raised, data security flags that get raised. Typical challenges that I'm going to cover. Firstly, it's a big production scaling blocker. First couple of docks, no problem. You're on the guest network. Um, the moment you start stepping into production networks, oh wait, everyone's gets all the bells start ringing, and the IT folks hound in, and that's not a problem. That's not an issue, and we'll talk about how we can sort of navigate that. The second is when they come in, there are complex internal approvals, a lot of steps in place. Third is data access restrictions. So they typically ask for who has access to data. Is my data going to China? Is it on my site? What does FlightBase do with my data? So on and so forth. And then the fourth is sort of an outcome of these three issues is where deployments get delayed. How do we solve for this? We've introduced FlightBase Shield, and this is an initiative on hardening FlightBase, sandboxing it, ensuring that it's completely uh, robust from a data security standpoint. There are four core pillars. First is setting up a hardened infra where everything's encrypted. All your data, all comms is encrypted at rest and in transit. Operational and access related SOPs. So who has access to your platform, however your uh, persona set up, what does each operator have access to, so on and so forth. Network security, how vulnerable is FlightBase to external attacks? How unsafe is my data? How unsafe are my operations? These are typical questions. And the fourth is, again, on the application layer. So this is more on the network layer. Fourth is how safe is the application code in itself. The the way we've set this up is we have documentation on all of these four pillars. We have answers to all your questions. We have SOC 2 Type 2, ISO 27001, and GDPR compliances. And in most cases, 90% of the cases, that's good to go. You're good to go, that your IT teams are happy. But then there is always that one blocker, and that is that unease that, hey, is my data going to China? I trust you with these compliances, but how do I is can I visualize this this pain point of mine? And actually, no one actually said that out loud, but we realized that if we're able to give IT operators visibility into where their dock is communicating, how it's communicating, that will really empower them to understand, hey, these operations are safe. Nothing's going to China. Uh, no one cares about this data. I have access to my data. And the way we do that, and I'll quickly skip to that part, is through the Shield dashboard on FlightBase. So bear with me. There are a lot of numbers, a lot of screens, but let's go from left to right. On the left, you can see a firewall blocking certain traffic, certain outgoing traffic. This outgoing traffic is from the dock. And the reason that exists is not a data security threat, but the dock is a chattery system. In IT terms, a chattery system is it just wants to communicate trash information all across the network. Um, and all of these IPs are pointing to different locations. So some of them are in the US, some of them in India, Japan, and the list goes on. These are blocked by FlightBase, and we are giving a visual representation of all the outgoing IP addresses the way we are blocking them. Further, uh, these are the blocked domains, and these are the allowed domains. So, for a lack of better analogy, this is a guest list on to your nightclub. Only these guests are allowed, and these are all guests that we know, and we being FlightBase. So you have a deny list, you have an allow list, and these allow lists are only IPs that FlightBase owns and manages, and you get documentation on all of these IPs. So you have certifications on all of these IPs. Further, we are giving you a visual representation of or a list of all the IPs that are blocked. So even if your IT team is curious, they can go through all of these destination IPs. They will realize that most of these destination IPs are trash, like, and the information that the doc is trying to communicate is trash, but nonetheless we are blocking it for your security. This has helped scale a lot of this has helped clear inhibitions for a lot of customers. Further, it's helped with scaling. And Joseph, I know you have a couple of stories on this, so if you'd want to probably share.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely have stories on IT uh, concerns and blockers and things like that. So this particular device has been a game changer for us in that and helped us to remove that blocker almost immediately in a number of situations. Recently, we've had a very large oil and gas client with some very significant IT security concerns, and we were able to address those very quickly and make the IT team feel very safe by just implementing this piece of hardware. Um, so that particular case aside, when it comes down to it, it's about serving the customers and their mission and what they need to provide their teams internally so that they're safe or they're getting the data they need or whatever it is. Wherever those drones are flying, they have a job to do. And being hampered by the company that makes the piece of technology to provide that data, in a lot of cases is just not a good excuse, right? So it's all about getting the best piece of equipment to provide the best data as quickly and efficiently as possible. And when we run into IT blockers in handling that, it really kind of takes the wind out of the sails on both sides, right? So this lets us kind of just not have to worry so much about that. Is this blue list? Is this green list? Is this something that somebody has to be concerned about? We put this piece of hardware in place. We've got the AIR on there, and we're ready to go, and we're secure. And IT teams have loved seeing the documentation that goes along with that.
Thanks
It
for
also
sharing.
allows us to be confident as a, sorry, one more thing here. It allows us to be confident as a service provider that we're doing everything that we can to keep the customer and their data safe too.
For sure. And as a business developer myself, having and speaking with large enterprise customers, it just makes the conversation so much easier when you are able to empower the IT teams, and also with partners and solution providers such as yourselves, because there is a fundamental layer of trust that sort of builds in when you have all the IT and data security checks in place. Then we can start talking about higher order use cases. With the oil and gas customer, I'm confident that we're going to talk about so many more scalability factors, which would have been a no-go if data security was a blocker. So yeah, with that, I'll sort of answer the how. The how we do this is with the help of this edge compute device. It's These are a lot of numbers, a lot of specs. You don't need to worry about it. You can reach out to Joseph, you can reach out to me. We'll help you with all the details. Overall, this is um, I would say it's like a shield that has a firewall. It has your AI detection models. It has your local storage, so you're able to store media locally. It has a video streaming engine, so you're streaming video locally. This is your I would say, data shield or an edge compute device that goes along with the dock. So it integrates with the dock. It's called FlytBase AIR. Integrates with the dock, allows for higher order use cases, allows for site security as well. It's not required to set up FlightBase. It's a value add. We still secure instead of AIR, but it allows for the analytics layer, for example. With that, what I'd like to do is cover a couple of case studies. So maybe I'll talk about Discovery Land first. Um, so, what I want to do is not give you the entire deep down on all of these use cases. I'll share the links to the case study afterwards. But what I want to talk about is the diversity of use cases or the diverse use cases that are possible. With Discovery Land, they're with UVT, they're a real estate um, property management firm. So these are high-end residential complexes, villas, there are multiple golf courses, and it's they're very sensitive on site security. They set up FlightBase, they scale to multiple docks. Overall, they were able to save 20,000 US dollars worth of contractor fees a year, and they're also using the dock not only for security but also for mapping. So they're using it for mapping their golf courses on a yearly basis, and that's really helped them save not only on contractor costs but also do things they were not able to do with the help of the dock. The second one, and I actually saw someone join in from South Africa, so I just thought I'd add this case study in because it's more, I know it's more US centered right now, but I saw someone from South Africa. So 24/7 Drone Force is a drone solution provider. They're working with residential estates as well in South Africa. And what they've been able to do is 1,200 plus drone flights in just this year. And they've set up multiple docks for site security as well. What I'll do is in the chat box, I'll add links to multiple case studies. You can go around, you can go to the website and check out. I've sent it in the chat box. You can check out a few of these case studies. Joseph can also, talk about a few that we've done with FlightBase. Discovery Land is, sorry, with UVT. Discovery Land is a very successful case study with UVT, and there are a lot more that we can talk about. So I've shared the link. Please feel free to go through them. That was our time or our slides. We'd be more than happy to take up questions. Um, Questions from operations, questions for FlightBase, for UVT. Please feel free to drop them in the chat box. So I can see a few that have been dropped, in the chat box, and I'll go in the reverse order of the first in, first out principle. So first question's in from Paul. How many docks are currently deployed by your company, and how many pilots are operational at the same time? This would be for you, Joseph.
Sure, absolutely. So right now we have, I would say, around 100 docks deployed at this point. As far as pilots on staff in our remote operations center, it depends on the workload at the time, right? So we have pilots to staff the computers when we need to. There is somebody there 24/7, 365. When we have high call volume times, we've got more pilots. When there are lower call volume times, we have fewer pilots. It just kind of fluctuates as needed. We have, I believe we have 5 or 6 pilots on staff right now. I think we just hired another, and we've been hiring more pilots. So
For
it's
sure,
growing.
Joseph, I definitely double down on that, given our, given the demand of the system and so just ladies and gentlemen, the drone dock as a service model is a game changer. There were so many customers, so many small scale users who would want to use docks, large enterprises as well who want to use docks, but don't want to take up the operational overhead of getting the waivers, getting the certifications, having the pilots on site. Just it's one of the best ways to sort of go about, especially if you don't have a mature drone program, if you don't want to take care of um, the operational aspect.
Yeah, that was huge for us. I mean, I don't want to say that we're the first remote operations service provider in the country, but I think we may be the first, or at least one of the first remote operations service providers in the country. Um, we made that shift because our customers were having such a hard time. It was they needed the equipment, they needed the technology, they needed the data, and they needed it last week. But then they had to wait 3 to 6 months to get a waiver approved. Then they had to get their pilots trained. You know, you can do some of that at the same time, but it takes a long time and costs a lot of money to stand all of that up. Um, we we realized we had a network of really good pilots. We had some people internally, and we had some people that we work with on a regular basis that were just incredibly smart and efficient when it comes to getting waiver approvals and things like that going. We had helped numerous public safety agencies set up and design their operations, so it was something that we were familiar with, and we were able to stand up pretty quickly because we had done it for so many public safety agencies. Now we just do it internally, and then we were able to offer that service to our clients with waivers already in place, deploying within a week, and it was the reception was just incredible.
For sure. And
Big old
yeah,
easy button.
yeah, turnkey is the way to go, especially, I fully second what about the model. Just maybe an add-on question to that. The second question is, what are the use cases that UVT caters to? So you mentioned DFR, you mentioned site security.
Yeah,
What are the other
absolutely.
use?
So again, our traditional background, our start was in public safety. So private security just makes a ton of sense, right? Security is kind of our bread and butter. That's one of our top use cases, but we also cater to commercial construction. So we work with a number of different platforms to create 3D modeling, digital twin. So there's a number of construction clients out there where we're able to, during the day, we create a 3D model of their entire site, and then the project manager can be remote and have a full view of that construction site in 3D at the end of the day. And then at night, we're running security operations. Um, or maybe a large office complex, right? So there's a number of office complexes where we've had concerns with AC units or cracking on the side of the building or something like that, and it's added on as our regular patrol operations to stop and do an inspection on a particular piece of equipment. So industrial inspection, commercial inspection, things like that is huge when we start looking at maintaining buildings and properties and things like that. It's not just taking care of physical security and making sure that there's not somebody breaking onto the property and posing a threat to people or things on the property. There's also other factors that come into providing safety and security, and this lets us do that.
Thank you for the answer, Joseph. Um, the next question is how do drones or how do drone in a box systems like DJI Dock 3 impact the ROI of perimeter security operations? So I'm assuming these are traditional perimeter security operations with boots on the ground security. Do you have insights on that?
Yeah, absolutely. It's I smile because it's kind of a hard one to quantify, right? There's so many different setups, there's so many different uses. Talking about perimeter security, commercial security, private security is very broad. If we look at it from a broad aspect like that, from what I've heard, I don't deploy armed guards, so I don't know exactly what it is, but in my experience, what I've heard is an armed guard costs anywhere from $17 to $35 an hour, depending on where you are in the country, what their experience level is, and what kind of service they're providing. If they're sitting in a guard shack doing patrols, what have you, right? Um, the big the big ROI, sorry, brain stopped. The main opportunity for ROI is going to be that hourly cost, right? It's very difficult for a company to justify a certain level of cost if the risk isn't there, right? So how do we increase that level of visibility, that level of security at those weak points, at those times, and and provide that customer something else that's not going to cost them $35 an hour and still keep them secure. With the way that we've set up our deployments and our pricing and our different packaging, we can get these systems out for, in lots of cases, less than $10 an hour, 24/7, 365. That's a huge game changer to our customers because if they don't have the ability to have an armed guard on site at $25, $35 an hour, we can launch our drone. We've got intelligence built into the security camera systems, motion sensors, whatever it is that's going to help us to deploy that system and go take a look at whatever the potential threat is. We can monitor that site and then send that information back to either the security partners remote operations center, GSOC, or send it back to local law enforcement so that they have an idea what they're going into as they're responding. It's not just about having somebody there. Having somebody there is fantastic, but we all understand the struggles with guards. Lots of my colleagues in space have said this before. They show up late. They show up with their uniform. They don't show up at all. The drone's there. It's ready to go. The main thing that we have to worry about in the drone not showing up is weather.
Right. For sure. I mean, just if you quantify the operations from, as you mentioned, $17 to $35 for the security guard, if you're able to bring that down to $10, that's a win. I feel, in addition to that, based on a few security providers that I've spoken to and a few customers, you're also improving the efficiency in the system. What you're doing is you're able to, reduce your drone dispatch, so reduce the time to the incident. You're also able to improve security or safety for the operators because you have a initial eye in the sky, so you're able to see if the intruder is armed or not, what kind of response do you need to dispatch to the incident. So there is obviously the linear cost saving, but there's also improvement in the outcome or the efficiency in the system. So it's sort of a great scenario where you're also improving your operational outcomes and reducing costs.
Yeah, I mean that's
And
a great point, and it's guards are always going to be necessary, right? This isn't
yeah,
about replacing guards. This isn't about taking the job of guards or anything like that. This is about adding a layer of security, adding an additional layer to the response, right? So in public safety, we talk about layered response. In private security, we can talk about layered response as well. This allows us to do that. We can provide that information back to the guard. If there's not a guard available, but they're on another property, maybe there's not a guard dedicated to that property, but you've got a guard that's doing patrols on a number of different properties, right? Just having an alarm go off on that piece of property isn't always going to justify the guard going straight to the property right away. But if the alarm goes off and they've got a video feed of somebody cutting a fence and the drone is able to follow that person and the guard knows that there's an immediate threat, or local law enforcement knows that there's an immediate threat, well, now we've got something to react to and we can go after it and we know what we're walking into.
For sure. I mean, I think we've covered that topic well enough. And I'd just like to maybe add one point to it is if you need any sort of ROI calculators, if you need, at FlytBase, we love building calculators. Like that's one of our things as a business team. So if you have any specific metrics, we can help calculate your streaming costs. We can help cost of ownership from a software standpoint. Obviously, Joseph will help with the operational point of view, but we can help build these dynamic calculators for you so that you can justify the ROI for your management, for your teams. Can you share insights on cost savings? I think and operational efficiencies, we spoke about that. How much video streaming do you receive out of the box? That depends on how much you fly. So I'm just taking out the quick, easy questions out. It depends on how much you fly, depending on how many minutes you fly, and whether or not your video stream is on or off. There are two streams at any time, one from the dock, one from the drone. We can help you optimize your costs by setting up FlytBase operationally in such a way that you're not consuming as many minutes. That's also like one of the primary cost drivers from a software standpoint. So the last question is, so Shield is a piece of hardware or software? And that's a great question because my last slide sort of would have thrown people off with, hey, where did this hardware piece come from? FlightBase Shield is more holistic. It's not a software or hardware. It's the initiative that we take, different initiatives that we take to ensure that all of your operations are safe and secure from an IT standpoint. When it comes to us taking these initiatives, making our software safe, we employ different tactics, different techniques. One is from a software standpoint, so having the right authentication, authorization, having the right network setups, for example, packaging the application in such a way that it's safe from external attacks. So those are all the software initiatives that helps us get SOC 2, Type 2, ISO 27001, all the nice good certificates out there that we can share copies of for your referral. The hardware aspect is where the AIR comes in. That just helps us fully sandbox the dock, block all external comms. We're able to do that from a software standpoint as well. The FlightBase hardware just hardens the entire experience by having an external firewall. You're also able to visualize the network by knowing where the dock is trying to communicate. A follow-up to my last question, is your software sitting on Shield box or in the cloud or hybrid? Great question. Didn't add that slide. Our application is fully containerized. It's hosted, so you can host it on cloud. We can deploy it on your own cloud. We can deploy it in a hybrid format. We can also deploy it on premises. So the Shield box or the AIR integrates with the dock, connects with the cloud platform, can also connect with the on-prem deployment of FlightBase. So it's completely, I would say, optional or separate. You don't need it to run FlightBase, run your dock operations. It's a value add for analytics and data security. So I hope that answers your question. To summarize, you can deploy your software anywhere and you can integrate it with the FlightBase AIR system. So I think those were all our questions and we have 10 minutes left. So if there are no more questions, maybe I'll wait for 10, 20 more seconds.
Gosh, there was a follow-up on the Shield box, if it's in the cloud or if it's hybrid, on-prem, cloud, or hybrid.
Yeah, I took that up with the fact that it's optional and you can deploy it on-prem. I think there's another question. So the analytics is done. Yeah, the analytics is done on the Shield box. That's right. So the models, the analytical models are deployed on the edge. Now, I'll actually call this out. Like there are a few software providers who are doing it with the AI models or analytics deployed on the drone directly. We do it with the AIR module. And the reason for that is with the AIR module, we have a lot of vertical scalability for the IT infrastructure. So we are able to deploy larger models and a lot more to come in that space. We are talking about video language models, scene detection models, a lot more to come there, and we'll have some great updates. But the AIR device, the edge device, allows us for vertical scalability of these AI models. So I'm not only answering your question, I'm also adding to it as to why that thought process. Awesome. So any closing thoughts, Joseph? Uh, Putting you on the stand there, how was the experience? How can we help? And any closing thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. There's a lot that goes into scalability. There's a lot that goes into the flight-based platform that helps us with scalability. I think we've covered a lot of it quite a bit. I mean, really, I just appreciate you giving me the opportunity to come here and talk with you about this. And yeah, happy to do it again anytime.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Joseph, for your time. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to us. I'm dropping in my email address in the chat box if you have any questions. Thank you so much, guys. Cheers.